Hey everyone, I'm Moi.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which can be, riddled with, pain, which masks itself as saltiness or bitterness, or maybe even a little spiciness, as we sort of expand our horizons. But at the end of the day, our natural natures come out, and that is our sweetness. We're DocuSweeties. Hi.
Hey.
Yay. So let's talk about what we're talking about today. We're knee deep in the middle of two 90-day worlds, and one being 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days, which have you heard our episode just came out, and the other one being today's episode, 90 Day Fiancé. We are towing it. We are the other way. This is season 5, episode 5, with the title of My So-Called Wi-Fi, which obviously is a pun based upon the best show ever made. The best show ever made. So that's what that is, the best show ever made.
It was so edgy, and I want to watch it again now with this adult eye and see if I still think that it was like the most edgiest thing I had ever seen on TV. Anywho, so I really do think that Brandon and Mary bring the fire. This was a good episode for me, for them. Of course, I skipped over Kenny and Armando. I just can't. I don't care, unfortunately, they're great. I love their love, but I can't watch their drama.
You cannot accommodate anymore of Armand accommodate any more of them. God, I really.
Yeah, Armand Madate.
You know what? We'll get back to you on that, but she tried so hard. So okay. Let's start with men. Should we save Mary and Brandon for the last? Let's get through. Oh, Kimberly and TJ are great too. So let's get through some BS people. Okay. So
BS people are Julio and Kirsten. I mean, obviously they're the BSy of the BSes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this kind of started to say the thing that was kind of unspoken, which we'll say, but basically he's in the car with her and he's like, "Hey, did you have a fun time last night?" And she's like, "No." Maybe some moments of a smile here and there, but no, mostly you keep taking me places where other people tell me things that we've never discussed that I didn't even know was a thing. And now it's like a thing, and you want me to, in front of these people, acquiesce and say okay to something that I'm now being like, it's being sprung upon me. And there's so many ways of looking at it. One is like, look, I'm a normal, nice person. So if you've been feeling this way, I just kind of wish you had just talked to me about if you didn't want to live with me, or if you didn't want to live there and you were having second thoughts of leaving America. But what's happening is that you were too scared to ever tell me that. And now you are pushing me into situations that I'm already uncomfortable with, because, I'm like, this is my first time here and I'm already like a foreigner and I don't know. And none of these people really know about me because you refused to even tell them that we were in a relationship. But now in front of them, you're pushing something on me and want me to say yes to. And it's like, I mean, it's really fucked up of him. And I'm really happy that she isn't weird or go with the flow or whatever, or me. She's not even being she's not picking fights with him. She's sort of just standing her ground and then just being very honest about you never said any of that. So why is it happening now? And you definitely feel those things. You can't back out of that now. I want you to be honest with me. It's obvious that you feel those things. What?
Yep. And he says, well, you gave me an ultimatum and I do love you. So, but things are moving fast. And we're all like, why did you sign up for this show?
Yeah, it's not called 5-Year Fiancé.
Yeah.
Take your time, really settle into that fiance.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is what it's called tow. You can't ask her to live here for 2 months. It's not called 90 Day Fiancé. It's called the other way, tow. So it's just really interesting that he is doing this, and then he's kind of putting it back on her by saying, you gave me an ultimatum. And it just feels like either they have no problems and this is the drama they're making up, or I don't know, we just have another like Christian in our hands, of Cleo and Christian. So it's kind of bummer to see, but he does take her to dinner, or not dinner, breakfast the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought like hollandaise and like eggs Benedict was like Netherland food.
This is a great point. So I looked this up. So hollandaise sauce is very similar to béarnaise sauce, which is one of my favorite sauces to eat steak with. But there's a slight difference. I looked it up. So béarnaise, meanwhile, builds upon hollandaise with white wine, vinegar, shallots, tarragon, and other fresh herbs. Definitely a little lemony béarnaise. But, yeah, like, but he was like, you're not used to potatoes for breakfast. And I was like, oh, potatoes? No, okay, well, yeah, maybe I could, it's, hash browns. But yeah, like, a saucy egg feels very French. Now, it's a lot of food for breakfast with a lot of sauce. So it does look, the portion of it and the plating of it is distinctly American. Distinctly, and American corporate restaurant-y. That wants to please the eye and showcase an abundant plate that makes someone think, oh, I'm getting my money's worth and this is good food. I'll come back and I don't mind paying $14 for this. Like it's not.
Why did you clock them? Just clocking, Chris.
because okay, so an eggs Benedict in a 5-star restaurant would be $28 to $32, and it won't ever look like that,
the portions wouldn't be like that.
It won't be on the plate like that. It will still be 2 eggs. It will still be over, it's just so interesting, and how it's just interesting how things come off. But yeah, she thought it was yummy. I actually, I'll be honest, like I can't eat the whole plate, but definitely if you're hungover, eggs Benedict is very yummy. Like this is a long time to talk about this, but I don't like the Canadian ham, the thick cut ham, which often is what often is what it's on an eggs Benedict. I'd rather just have bacon. That's me. And if there's avocado, great. So basically, she's leaving tomorrow. That's all you have to know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I guess one thing is, he tries to lure her, being like, well, you should stay in America. She's like, really, with all the gun violence and everything, we've talked about? He's like, yeah, but have you tried that pizza? She's like, yeah, but we also live by Italy. He's like, fuck Italy. Have you tried that pizza? Which LOL, so American. And I love New York food, but like, it's so funny that she's like, you literally never talked about hating Netherlands food or even talked about food the entire time. You'll literally like grasp any straw to like stay on this continent. You'll be, it's so funny.
But he also says that he can't imagine living in the US. Like that's not his final resting home. Like that's not the place he's gonna die. And like, so it feels like really counterintuitive for him to be like, hey, yeah, can you actually just come here first for like 2 months and then get to know my family, then we can go? And she's like, no.
I love her saying no. I know.
So no.
No, you paint yourself as being like what? Like a totally crazy adventurous guy who like is willing to do anything and like isn't tied down and isn't like unsophisticated. And here you are crying about your New York pizza when I have Italy right by me. Okay.
Yep.
Sure, Jan.
Yep.
We can move on if you're ready.
All right. Danielle and Johan. Wow. Danielle, Johan, and Danielle's weave. So we start off with the lovely friends. We have those amazing friends, and this time they've got tan lines. They have been laying out. They have been living their best lives. What did you think of those friends, Chris?
I just am so happy they're here. I feel like this is a calculated effort to make her more palatable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I sometimes like revert to you with certain like reality TV gimmicks and things that happen, because you have like, you're like, oh, I know what's happening. And me, I'm like, huh? Okay.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I'm not on I'm not on the phone calls, but it feels like last season was so her being horrible and everyone hated her or whatever, and
They're
now
like, "Hey, Chris Farah, yeah, we need your
yeah,
ideas. So you wanna know what
yeah.
we think? Yeah, can you
I'm
be
in
our
the
consultant?" Yeah.
yeah. Matt Sharp hires me, and I'm like Raymond. I'm like, oh, Matt, baby, let me tell you what I think you should do. But
Uh,
basically, last season was horrible. It painted her horribly. She looked like a crazy person. It was like whatever. And then she comes back on the season. She's halfway in the season, so she like is a really slow to warm, almost like she tiptoes in, like, remember me? She like pretends that she's a different person. She disguises herself with long mermaid hair. She brings two people who speak better Spanish than her, who can relate to Johan more, who she, like who all the things. Okay.
Yeah.
So, who like is a stepping stone between them. And so, yeah, all together it's just so funny and it really works out. But they're so lovely. And then he comes in and he was like, how was your day at the beach? And every woman's like, yeah, which is cute, whatever. They're talking a little about the kids. They want, they're like, well, are you ready to have kids? And Danielle's like, well, I had a kid, remember, when I was 21 and I wasn't readier then than now, and then she kind of has a back and forth of like,
Yeah.
what it's like to raise a kid there, what's it like to raise a kid then. And then she's like, he just wants to have sex every day. And, and he's like, yeah, I just want to have sex every day. And then she now has to tell him when she can't have sex. And I am just like, yeah, we breathe every day. You eat every day. I know it sounds, I mean, like, if I was with someone who I found attractive, and that Danielle finds Johan really attractive, like, and that person wanted to have sex with me every day, barring, of course, like physical ailments or periods or like whatever, like some sort of surgery or whatever, like, obviously things come up and down. But most of the time, every day I'd be like, yeah, it's the time when we have sex because I get to have sex with the person I find incredibly attractive I'm with, right? Like, oh, yay. I can't imagine a world in which she's like, no, unless she's literally being like, bitch, that is a baby that is swinging from, I can't always have sex with, I mean, unless she's going to really be like, it hurts sometimes and I can't just always have sex. I'm raw, which,
whoa.
I don't know. I'm just trying to, like, I'm trying to be
through the 3
empathetic.
stages. You took us through each stage. It was great.
More, yeah. I'm like, can you imagine? This is the AD. Can you imagine that you all listen to a podcast by like at least one person with diagnosed ADHD? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, they talk about the cost of IVF, and he starts talking about how he believes that God gives you children. And I just, for a minute, like, he said that, and I just felt like fairy dust just got thrown in the air. It was like, I was like, also the sperm has to get to the egg. You know what I mean? Like, also the sperm has to get to the egg. So maybe you should do something outside of the body to help the sperm get to the egg. You've been trying for so long. And the friends are like, hey, we want them to wait a little longer to get to know each other, honestly, because Johan just throws away jobs willy-nilly. And I would hope that our friend would be smarter the second time around. And Johan just like doesn't quite understand why they just can't keep trying every single day. And she's like, I can't. But then we have a scene where they go to hang out with Johan's family, which for me was unexpected. And secondly, I always do that. And secondly is a treat to see his family again. Right?
Yeah. I really like that scene. I just say when they're on the way, they're in the car, the girl's in the back keyking, and at one point he's wearing sunglasses that I wish I had a picture of for you in Patreon. I don't have it, but you watched it.
He looks cute.
It was interesting. The glasses were a certain kind. Here's the thing. He's a handsome man. He can pull off anything. But at the same time, he's so handsome that I know how much better that whole face with those bad bone structure, everything would look with like, just like a little bit of a little different. I know that's me, but that's him. I'm at the same time, he's living his best life. So, and again, I like him this season because it feels like he this is a whole different vibe. He's not like, oh, who's this Daniela friend that has a big dick and threatening me? He's like, look at these two fun people that speak Spanish and I'm not threatened by, and think that I'm great, like, and kind of think she's dumb, so like it's great for him.
It's also nice to see on this show. Normally we have the rude ass friend who comes into town. Like think of Jen and her friends. Think of Debbie and her, no, not really Debbie and her daughters. Who else? Anyways, or like Sumit and his parents. You know what I'm saying? Like this is actually a sweet reunion or a sweet meeting of friends slash family, and I'm in for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say he brings a drum and they into the lake festivities, which was like, oh great. And then they see him, he's always bringing bottles too, and he like has some sort of bottles. His like family doesn't know why he's that tall. He like loves his nieces and nephews. It makes me really, really happy.
Yeah, he was 12 pounds. Jesus, Lord have mercy. Jesus, Lord have mercy. And it was a good time at the river. I love that they was like, oh, this is the Rio. I was like, oh, so cute. Oh, right. That's it, right? Oh, we talk about her pH balance. So she doesn't actually get into the river because her flora and her fauna will get like messed up. And so she, you know what I'm saying?
Flora and fauna is just basic words for, like sea life and anemone. So she's talking about her like bacteria vaginosis or like, like, yeah. Now she's not wrong, like in the sense of hot bodies of water that are fresh water might not have all of the, you could, get some. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that does ring true for me. All right, let's move on to let's just
Kenny
move
and
on
Armando and just get them done because then we have all the great people left, right?
You took notes for them?
No, but we have to talk about, okay, no, but here's what I'll say about this. Is basically what happens. We have more, okay, this is Kenny and Armando. We have more of this conversation with the mom where the mom has like, unfortunately, done the mom thing. Armando's mom last episode was basically like, you have done so many things. You keep hurting me. And Armando just had it up to fucking here with it. He was like, listen, you're not a Pobracita. I'm the Pobracito. You know why? Because my whole ass wife died and I had to come out of the closet and raise a little girl by myself. And then in this episode without Hannah, he's like, bitch, I didn't even tell you the worst part. The worst part was I was suicidal. So having said that, I'm going to say this. They are not a fun couple to watch this season. They've never been. Everything has been kind of boring. And there's a story about, and now we're going to get back to the story about whether they're going to have a kid and Kenny's going to be like 70, 72 with like, birthing a kid. I don't know. But anyway, I am happy for this scene because I don't think that a lot of people, especially mothers, like in that kind, understand out of their mind like what was done to them and what wasn't done for their son. Like I think that she in her mind really was in a victim-y place of like, I keep having to go through this and why do I keep having to go through this? And he's like, come on, wake up. I had to go, and I was alone. Like you went through shit and at least you had, it was a stone cold wall you slept through, my dad every night, but at least you had your, whatever it is. So that's what happened with them. And now we can get to the two best people, Kimberly and TJ and Mary and Brandon.
Mary and Brandon, let's go. Okay, Mary and Brandon. But wait, before we go to Mary and Brandon, let's go to a break. And Mary and Brandon. Their storyline just brings it to us every single time. Does it not? For me, it really does.
I don't. They feel like the most immature couple that is the most toxic couple that keeps going back and forth. And you're like, I don't want to hear anymore. You're horrible. They keep breaking up. They keep getting back together. And after you keep hearing about the relationship, you will write off either person in your life for the rest of your life because of how crazy they are from hearing about this. Like, that's the kind of thing. But they're on the season, so we have to hear about it. It's crazy though. Go ahead.
You know what? I just imagine that Brandon is stuck there. Like maybe he spent his last dime to go to the Philippines. And so even if shit doesn't work, he's just there until he can earn enough money. And how he's going to earn enough money, we don't know. Maybe cameo, but he's going to earn enough money at some point to be able to purchase a ticket to leave. because he sunk all of his money into that house. So that's his house. So this makes them an interesting couple. Like, what if they are a couple that's on toe, then before the 90 days, then 90-day fiance, then happily ever after. You know what I'm saying? Then they get their own spin-off. This could go on for years.
I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I kept trying. I will say, I just feel like are they gonna stay together?
No, but I mean, he would be stuck there. Like I'm saying, how would he get a ticket to leave? Like, what if he'd spent all his money?
I know who. The godparents.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming, okay, this is what I wondered. He had the place that he was living in. Did he sell that place?
The trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm just saying he had to get some money. He has to get. But anyway, so he wakes up and it's like, it's cock-a-doodle-doo, honey. And like that cock is loud, like this is the second time I think the second time we've heard a loud animal in a tin roof where the loud animal is making a sound and then the sound sounds like it's through a boy's speaker, where it's like so loud. So then she's like, how did you sleep? And he's like, horribly, like, I'm foot to face in a tiny bed, and then we realized that she like left and like in the middle of the night because he kept kicking her in the head, and then like she felt bad and he felt bad, and he doesn't get why she isn't like, when the lights go out, I'm going to be totally naked in your spoon, like, which is okay what I thought was going to happen too. But yeah, she really kept it right, kept it tight, and kept it, distant, honey. It was like a Holy Ghost, a lot of room. Yeah.
So the next morning he gets fed and she wants to fatten him up because she wants him to be cuddly like a bear. But secretly, I believe it's because she doesn't want other people to be attracted to him.
Yes, she's sick. This is a sick person.
Yeah.
She's bananas. I mean, she's banana-ramas. She scares the living shit out of me.
She got in this situation and just became her to the nth power. This is like, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive that a sociopath could just like find an American, not a sociopath, but just somebody who just has like really anxious and crazy behavior. So we have that morning, he's told Brandon that he has to learn how to farm with her grandfather because he's, a man in the house. And maybe be like, where's that brother? Where does he live? Or does he live there? And like, what does he do? And so she takes him with her little umbrella and he puts on galoshes and he gets there and his feet just starts to sink. He gets stuck. Lolo has to get him, and Lolo is laughing the whole time. And so he then like tells us about opening up the soil for the rice field. And then he says that there's excrement in the water, which is like so disgusting to me.
Yes. Okay, I watched this and tried to piece together what the hell is happening. They're far. Okay, so a couple of things. They have a farm. There's animals. They also farm rice. Rice also grows there. Now, okay, so but what we're looking at, my loves, is a pond of mud and other things so wet that it's just moving back and forth in waves as an animal drudges through it and like maybe rakes underneath the mud, but like you can't even see the mud. There's so much water on top. So now I should tonight deep dive for you and tell you why this is part of rice farming, or how this does any in my mind. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Why does the water dry off? They're going to use the cow dung mud as fertilizer to then put in a different part of the yard where the rice will then grow with that mud cow dung. Like, are we making fertilizer, wet fertilizer? Like, is this a big soup and they're just using this cow and this like weird rake to like to kind of just get everything in one mix together? Like what? I truly like, and the poor thing is,
No,
one
that
thing about Brandon is he's going along for the ride. Literally, he does not know what's happening, and they don't. And like, I would be like, "Hey, boo, will you just also like tell me like what it is that like we're doing a little bit like what am I'm staying on, and then moving the cow around just around different places, every part like a Roomba." Like what is because they don't know. No one knows.
the rice grows in that. Like that is the soil for the rice. Rice
But it's so
grows in
wet.
marshes. Yeah, rice grows in marshes.
But wait, so it's gonna. So are you saying the stalks of the rice are gonna grow so high that it's gonna be above the water? Am
Not
I
above.
dumb? Why are you laughing?
No, because I really don't know. But I've seen people in like rice fields. Like I want to. If you just Google rice
Okay.
fields, you'll
Okay.
see. You'll see. But
Oh,
everyone, take a moment and Google. Unless you're driving, be safe.
no, we'll do it for you. We'll do it for you. Yeah, but like basically, he does an okay job. Like he doesn't fall off. In a sense, like
Are you seeing rice fields? Did you Google it?
can you not tell that my book, the way I'm talking in my cadence, is I'm trying to buy myself time right now? Like, I actually did do rice fields, but then what happened wasn't it happened again. It's something called a paddy field came up.
Yes, this.
Okay, a paddy field is a flooded field of arable land used for growing semi-aquatic crops, most notably rice and taro. It originates from the Neolithic rice farming cultures of the Yangtze River Basin in southern China, associated with pre-Austronesian and Jesus Christ,
Well, anyways, that's how rice is.
Hamongian cultures. A paddy field.
Yep.
Yeah. So have so anyway, wow. No, I didn't know it. I didn't know. And yeah,
Anywho.
so basically Brandon is doing the best because Brandon does this thing that Ty and Patrick did, where Patrick wants to be respectful in the eyes of the elder peers as well as honest with them. So Patrick wanted Thais to like talk to her dad and tell her that like tell Thais's dad that like they're getting married, it's like that, and he like thought it was like he felt it disingenuous or not dignified for him to do that, right? He's like, no, that's not for me, which I almost feel, which I agree with, and so I give it to Brandon to also just be like, hey, just couple of things. I didn't know I was supposed to ask his whole ass permission, and you didn't tell me that, so I kissed you at the airport. Now I'm going to tell him that, and I'm also going to tell him, like he doesn't say this. I'm also going to tell him that no one told me, I didn't know that, so that I'm sorry, but that had already happened. So when he watches the episode, he knows that I'm a good guy. But he doesn't say that stuff. He's just like, yeah, I just told him, because then he's like, look, tell Lolo, your grandpa, that we kissed. And then I was like, are you going to also tell him that you didn't know that you couldn't kiss yet? Are you going to also tell him that you want to kiss more? But like basically, they're so scared, and then Lolo's like, oh, you kissed? Okay, well, you can kiss then.
Yeah, she was really, really terrified. But I think he was kind of impressed that Brandon went and was in the rice fields with him, cultivating the land, which I thought was nice too. So then the next scene with them is they go to the beach, and it's in a tricycle, and Brandon doesn't know what a tricycle is. Now, I don't know that I would have called that a tricycle. Like, to me, that's a motorcycle with I don't know what on it, but it's almost like a villain getaway. You know what I mean? That kind of that kind of bike. It, you just have somebody on the side. Anyways, so they get to the beach and they sit down, and there are the three friends: Pudding, Jello, and Pong. Let's talk about those names.
Okay, let's talk about it. First of all, at first I thought it was Pudding, Jello, and Paul. Which having a normal name is even it was like, then I was like, oh, it's Pong. Okay, good. It's all crazy.
Yes, it's so cute. Pudding, Jello, and Pong. I mean, the cutest little trio you'd ever seen. Yeah. Okay, and Pong is not to be messed with. Pong got a hold of some peroxide and like went to town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, Pong is feeling himself.
Feeling himself. So they sit down and, Brandon confesses that he was jealous of them because they got to hang out with her, and they ask Brandon why he's jealous, and he explains that she stopped him from hanging out with anybody ever. And she's crazy. And then the friends are like, well, did she tell you that she sometimes disconnects the Wi-Fi and comes and hangs out with us?
Wasn't that an interesting choice? Because, they could have been like, wait, Mary, you don't let him ever like hang out with anyone else, and you tell him, and then you get mad at him for well, obviously he's not going to let you hang out with anyone if you're not letting him hang out with anyone. Mary, don't be dumb. They don't say that to Mary. What they do is exactly what Wah says, which is like, oh, really? What does she tell you, that she fucking lies to your face? Which is such an interesting choice. Like, you could call out your friend and make the relationship better, but they just kind of like do that. And I will tell you this. I don't know which one, Jello or one of them, Jam. One of them is laughing his balls off during the scene. One of them finds this scene very funny.
Is that Pudding?
Pong is the one doing the dirty work.
Yes.
There's Pudding and there's Jello, right?
Jello is in the middle, and then Pudding is towards the beach.
It was Pudding.
Okay, yeah, Pudding.
Pudding had a smile on him. Pudding had a little smirk on him, honey.
The whole time. The
entire time. So yes. I don't know. I was just like, how real is it? I'm like, is this real? But then she suddenly does the whole, Mary tears, like Our Lady of Mary Guadalupe, where she just like, rains down sudden miraculous tears from who knows what, like, yeah. Then it's like she suddenly, okay, this is what I think she's crazy, because the obvious thing is the thing I just said, right? Mary, why the fuck would you complain or be mad at someone for being jealous and or not wanting to hang out with someone you're so crazily jealous and doesn't want them to hang out with anyone anyway? Yeah, like, you want to be like, it's so crazy, you won't let me hang out with my friends, bitch. It's crazy that you don't understand how seats on airlines work and he can't just not sit next to someone, like he's not paying for first class, not a private jet. Are you insane? It's not Drake you're dating. So like, so like that part, it's just like, but then what we have to see is that her understand that she's supposed to then get that. And we see what tears of her recognition, but I don't even really think it's recognition. It mostly comes on as some weird near-jerk reaction to having either been found out, because the tears just flow. But I don't see the emotion behind of like what they are, why they're there. God, I can't talk. You know what I'm saying though? Okay.
Yes.
Really? Look at me in the eye, Wah.
I will admit that I lost you somewhere. I will admit that. Sorry.
She's just like, I can't tell if she's having all of the thoughts and empathetic feelings I think one should have. I think that she's a little bit like a sociopath who like wants him for her own, narcissistic feelings, and wants him to be fat or unattractive in her mind. I'm not saying fat's unattractive, but that's what, like, I'm thinking that she's like, I want him to be a cuddly teddy bear and no one will want him. I won't be so jealous. Like, I think that's why that I think that she turns on tears and they just happen. And then I don't quite know if she feels sad or if she's caught or if she knows that it'll get out of the situation and or it'll just get her attention because she's beautiful. And suddenly the tears start and he's just like, baby, or whatever he calls her, bubby or whatever. I mean, like he calls her something that's reminiscent of what you would call like your Jewish grandmother from New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, babe, I'm not quite sure. But then he like starts like touching her face and like comforting her. And then, Jimmy and Jam and Pudding are just like watching this happen. It's bananas. Banana pudding. I love banana pudding.
I can't with you. I can't. Wait to take a break. I can't.
I think she's crazy. I think she's gonna kill someone. Don't use this. Cut this out. I think she's gonna kill someone someday.
Okay, I have to get water. Sorry.
Just like sometimes, you can go. I'm gonna talk.
Okay.
You guys, one of my favorite like things. It doesn't happen anymore because I'll tell you why. But I really love Vincent D'Onofrio on Criminal Intent, Law and Order Criminal Intent. You know, and he had some he was neurodivergent on the show. And so he was good at getting in the minds and thoughts of crazy people. And he would literally do that by turning himself into a J. And then he would interview or question people what are you doing? Anyway, I can't even do it. I'm it's so hard. But anyway, I would love to have him, Vincent D'Onofrio's character on Law and Order Criminal Intent, give me a scene with him talking to Mary and then his analysis. I'm going to mute myself while I take a piece of this apple in my mouth, even though this is just Patreon. Okay, baby boos. Coming back. When Walt comes back, we're going to have one more beautiful couple. And, I'm into it because I'm into this couple for a lot of reasons. Mostly because, especially this episode, we're getting hints of what we were always robbed of from seeing from other couples in a similar culture. So, having said that, our last couple is going to be Kimberly and TJ. Now, obviously, TJ being from India, while we're doing Kimberly and TJ, our last couple. Yeah. So, Kimberly and TJ, this was a great episode again, because Jenny and Rishi and Sumit and Jen, none of those people were ever going to get to a wedding that we got to fully see all the glory of. None of those people's the Indian families wanted nothing to do with it, nothing to do with that wedding. And so we were never going to see all the beautiful cultures and the meanings because that's reserved for people that are holy and have God's blessing on them, and those old biddies don't. So here we are. And for some reason, Kimberly's going to, which she does not deserve it. By the way, having said that, we all know how much better of a person Jenny and Sumit is than Kimberly. TJ's mom should be only too happy to get a Jenny over Kimberly, but you'll never think that way. So, Kimberly's been pouting upstairs forever how long. And he is going up in between their house and his house. He's going with the inside and outside shoes. And sometimes the outside shoes are his mom's shoes. And so sometimes he's wearing socks in those shoes. Well,
so he tells her hey, let's get outside and have a conversation. So they go outside and she puts on galoshes for some reason and he's in chanclas, and they walk a little bit down the street and sit down and talk about just how they need to better communicate with each other and how they need to talk certain ways and not try to cuss when they're angry and calmly say, hey, you're yelling at me. And he's agreed. And the whole time I'm just looking at her eyeshadow. And it's have you looked at her eye makeup? It's a weird auburn or brown, but kind of a red brown just on her lid, not buffed out. It just ragged edges, and then a kind of thick eyeliner that goes into a slight cat eye, or no cat eye at all. Sorry.
Yeah, she, I don't know. I would say her makeup has not registered neither here nor there. Amanda's eyeliner has registered, but no, Kimberly's makeup. She reminds. Okay, there's some simpagimps that I was that sounds horrible. There's some ladies that want to wear makeup but don't know how to wear makeup, and so what it is, it's they'll just get an eyeliner and they'll just be mascara. Oh, sorry. Let me pretend. So if you have an eyeliner, you just put from a crayon, you just kind of go in the middle of your eyelid and just kind of go down to the bottom, and then you do the same on the other side, and you kind of look it in the mirror and make sure that it didn't go anywhere crazy, but it's not even, and then it's just it doesn't enhance the shape of your eye, doesn't make it any sort of way. Just it's like you thinking that that's what eyeliner is and how you're gonna put it on. And then there's some mascara that happens, and then I never register any sort of other color on a face. Like doesn't seem like there's any blush, doesn't seem like there's any lipstick. It's just that's it. And so yeah, it's just yeah. Anyway, so she's also very interesting and weird to me. Not unlike Mary in that I think that they're both bananaramas, but also both very into themselves and how they're feeling, but like Kimberly is in her own world, and Kimberly's entire motivation in every scene is to make sure that person knows that she's a victim. Like every scene with TJ and the scene with the brother, she's just always being like, but I'm a victim. I'm a smart victim, though. Very smart victim. I'm a very worldly smart, clairvoyant victim. Clairvoyant, like that's what I feel like her whole agenda is, But so let's get into it. So it's beautiful. Was so excited. I know she is when we get into all the pageantry of the week before the wedding.
Oof, yes.
TJ's like, yeah, like we got things going. I obviously keep talking about how shitty she is to my family, but at the same time, they can hear we're in a building. So like half of it's like you can blame him for telling his family, and the other half of it is like the very real possibility of they heard her call him a dick over and over again.
Yeah. So they come out of this, and then it is the day one of the festivities. The wedding is 7 days, and it's like, God bless, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, what a way to celebrate someone's fucking union. I love it. So they do that, and she's uncomfortable because she doesn't know how the family feels about her, and the mother says that the way she behaved was unacceptable, but here we are, and we're moving forward with things. So they get I guess a little blessing where they make a clay remnant or replica of one of the gods with like one that looks like an elephant. I want to say Ganesha. And so it's a good time for the family. The next day they have a party until 10 p.m. because you can't make noise past 10 p.m., which I love that. She gets money from the auntie, and she doesn't have like quite the right reaction to me. Like I would have been like, oh my God, auntie, namaste.
Yes.
Namaste, auntie.
Fix her face.
She's like, yeah, she is just like, cool. Thanks. It was just so weird. It was so weird. So the next day he has to go to work, and she goes to get bangles with her brother-in-law, which is so cute. I love that they put the plastic bag over the hand, they slip the bangles on, and she's like, great, I'll take this, but I'll change around when I get at home. And I was like, girl, you don't have to be. Why do you have to say that? Like, what? Just take the things and go. You don't have to tell him that you hated the order he put it in. Like, it's just a girl too much. TMI.
Yeah. Will you please tell me, isolate that for a moment for a second? So she's in her mind like, I don't like it. I'm very particular. I like things my way. And in her mind, it's also like, I like things my way, and my way is the best way, and everyone should do things my way. And she also thinks, people pay me for my opinion, mostly about their lives and their future. So I definitely think my opinion is the most important because people pay me for my opinion on their lives. So when it comes to this bracelet, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it's obnoxious for her to say it out loud. It's unnecessary, like it's also, yeah, you have horrible style. So like, I just assume whatever you're going to do, those bracelets going to ruin it. Like that man's a professional bangler.
Yeah.
But so then, God bless. Next.
She gets into an argument at the top of some staircase.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like, what are they climbing up into?
Thank you. I was like, is there some food? Like, I think like in my mind, I was like, can you set the scene up a little better? Like there's no street food they could pretend to have gotten or drinks, and then they have to sit down and then consume those things, and thusly the conversation happens. But instead they're like, all right, well, we got you to be doing something which is away from TJ for some miraculous reason. Now, just you guys go there to talk.
Yep. And so they talk about, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. What do
The
they talk
fight.
about? They fight. They fight about her place in the family and how the brother-in-law feels about her and the way she's behaving. And so he says that she has ego because she's like, I'm told I can't eat garlic. Now, Chris, I have never known garlic to be so important to one person. I don't understand everything from the garlic on, because I would think to myself, if I'm marrying an Indian man, even before Jenny and Sumit, even before the great couples, of 90 Day Fiancé, the other way, I have the knowledge to know that that's what life may be like, or I have to be very open to that kind of life or something very drastically different if I chose to move to another country.
There's like so many things afoot. One thing is that I don't understand. I've never in my life dated an Indian gentleman for no reason other than I have not had the luck or the opportunity to do so. Okay. Having said that, I've watched enough of the show to understand that if I ever fell in love with an Indian gentleman who lived in India, and that if we had gone to a place where the option now was I was going to move to India, I would understand at this juncture, from my limited understanding of culture, just from watching TV and movies, that there'd be certain things that were to be expected of me. And I do not get how she feels entitled to the way she wants to live her life there. But she's a choosy beggar, again, because she is complaining about why she can't live the way she wants to live in his parents' home. His parents' home. She is not saying, you know what? I'm such a great clairvoyant. No, I really am so talented that I have helped so many people, that they have, through word of mouth, sent me so many people that I just happen to have made a lot of money. Not even that I charge, it's just that that's how great I am. So I have made a lot of money and saved it. So I'm going to go to India. I'm in love with you. I'll tell you though, I'm a little spoiled and I just kind of want to live the way I want to live. If that is okay with you and you want to talk to your family, I'm going to live in a different house. I'm going to live next door, whatever it is. And I own that place and I'm going to live the way I want to live there, which is the way I live. That is how it is. But this girl thinks that she's going to move to a foreign country and then have an apartment built for her, a wedding given to her, and her living situation be exactly how she wants to live because she's dominant, she says. She's just like the brother. They're dominant and they want things their way. And anything that she's supposed to do is quote unquote for the birds, which is now a secondary, archaic, old person-y, not real thing people say nowadays. This bitch, again, is the same bitch that was like, how now, brown cow? Like she's from Birdie. And now she's going to say, that's for the birds. Like, what are you, Danny Zuko? I don't even understand.
Old fashioned.
She is just, she's
I don't know. Yeah.
How many times can I say like she's crazy? And I know I said it a bunch with Mary, but it's like, you're watching the same show with me. Like, that's not like, you would run. You would run, you know, like, and I hate to say that because I don't even want to be a feminist, but TJ is fine. And you know who else is fine? Brandon is mildly okay. He's not for everyone, but he's demonstrated some strength, also some audacity, but also some strength. TJ is great.
TJ is fine. TJ is a beautiful,
hot as hell,
cute, beautiful looking man.
Yep.
And every time I look at him, and I'm like, why her? And I hate it. I'm being a hater. And I hate it. I hate it.
I agree. Oh, I don't. Listen,
Thank you.
There's got to be the most. I don't listen. I don't understand it because you know that he's surrounded by very beautiful women. She's now having said that, Kimberly is not ugly.
No,
she's not.
Not at all.
And Mary's beautiful.
But I feel like she would be with more of a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Like she gives me like fair maiden, you know. Anyways, so let's get, this is bitter. Let's get back to the sweets. So she has a conversation on the rooftop with her brother-in-law, and she says that she should be able to do what she wants. And then she's like, "Well, what if I want to eat pork and eat beef?" He's like, "Well, then we wouldn't say, and we couldn't say that you'd be part of our family." And then she says, "I have to do what you say for the rest of my life, or I can't be in the family." And then he says, "My brother spent all this money to build the apartment on top." And she's like, "Well, I moved across the world." And bro's like, "He broke with traditions to marry you." And she's like, "I moved across the world." And garlic is so tasty. And the brother's like, "Why is garlic so tasty?" He's like, "Indians, we don't have individuality, freedom. These are Western things. We set our boundaries because it's good for us." And so she's like, "So it's okay for you to have an opinion to express yourself, but it's not okay for me." And he says, "Yes, exactly." And I was like, wow, wow. She really brought that out of him. And she said, I understand that I was free coming here, and moving here is constricting me." And he's like, "Well, who is stopping you from going home?"
That happened. I was like, who? That happened, and I was like, Iyanla? Yeah.
Chris, that was great. That was great.
Because it was so like biting, smart, obvious.
That's the coldest line on 90. This is the cold. This that like that like blew me away.
Because it's true. But like, it's
oh.
Because what do you say to the person that's just like, "I'm a victim. I did this for him. I did that. I'm doing this." He's like, "All right, bitch, then don't do it."
Yeah.
And if it's so hard for you and you're complaining so much about all of that you had, then don't do it then. And let us live our lives. You know why? My mom really enjoyed not having to hear dick, 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 dick all night long. She enjoyed not having to hear that. Like, also, I want him to be like, "Also, bitch, my brother's hot." So it's not like
he doesn't need you.
Yeah, what do you think? You didn't meet some like dumb fuck, never met a woman. He didn't meet a Nicola. He's not a Nicola.
Yep.
Nicola or whatever, Nicola. So having said that, I did love the fact that it was so biting. I do love the fact that she like had to be told, and then half of me also thinks that she wants to fuck that brother.
Oh wow, you felt that energy come through.
So think about that, like we're both doms.
Okay, are you
clairvoyant? Things our way.
You're a little clairvoyant as well. So the brothers.
I'm Claire Danes.
Yeah. We're Clarisol.
Honey, my so-called life. Bringing it all back around.
Yes. Okay. So he says that she has to let her ego go because she has a lot of ego. Yeah. And so he says to her, "You are not staying here temporarily, actually. I'm telling you, you're not staying here temporarily." And she's like, "Well, how long am I staying?" And he's like, "With the family, stupid." it's with the family, I'm saying. And she's like, "Did you call me stupid? Did you call me stupid?" is what I asked. And he's like, "You were showing stupidity." And I'm like, "No, bro, we all didn't understand you. I had no idea what he meant by that." What do you mean by that? I don't get it.
I know. That was a fault on his move, because then she used that to jump down. She is manipulative. I could see it working, like I feel like when this happens with a brother and they showcase what happens next, I'm like, she's so silently smirking in the corners, knowing that she like is going to get in between TJ and his brother. And it made me feel really shitty for him. And I also kind of be like, I bet you anything that there's gonna be times in which I bet you that his mother thinks that she's a witch. Oh, I think so. There's no way that, like, especially if she ever hears that she's like into the tarot cards and the sage or whatever the fuck she's into, like and the way that she looks, and because of the eyeliner we've already talked about, and like, yeah, she gives weird witchy vibes. And I also can we talk about one more? Why can't TJ go to America again? Because India is just hard for, obviously this is the third person, it's just hard for Indian people to get visas here. Is that why?
I think so. I think you have to come over on like either student or a work visa to like work in maybe certain industries. It's a lot easier to get into Canada, I hear, than it is the US.
But okay, but then okay, so if you get married there, then you can apply as an already married person to come live in America, though, right?
I don't know. I just I don't know.
Because obviously Jenny doesn't give a shit about ever living in America. I think like Jenny is only too happy that she has made, you know, like $600 every month in Social Security money that she can turn into living her lavish, sleeping into noon life in India, you know. But yeah, I guess I just like, anyway. All right, well that's all I have for them, babes.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. So if you guys would like to join us on Patreon, $10 a month, patreon.com/DocuSweeties, so that you can see the visuals of what you're listening to today, as well as exclusive content. You get the episodes 24 hours before anyone else. And we do a live every first Monday of the month, which you guys missed yesterday, but you have next month to look forward to. $10 a month, patreon.com/DocuSweeties. And Chris will tell you about our social media should you not be able to do the Patreon. Chris?
Here I go. So we exist on Instagram at DocuSweeties, TikTok at DocuSweeties, what is formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, at DocuSweeties1, and drumroll wah. Yeah, I said drumroll, and then wah her trumpet announcement. That's okay. I love her so much. I love her so much. So, you know, I love that girl. Facebook. We exist on Facebook. It is DocuSweeties, DocuSweeties, the podcast group on Facebook. So join us. We're so excited to have you. Okay. And then there's nothing up there yet, but we'll get to it. Okay. We love you. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.